Hey, I just logged on. Did you log on? There you are. I'm going to admit only you, and then I'm going to give you hosting rights, okay? Oh, your Christina Lebo's already waiting. I'm hanging up. Hello.
Hi. It's a little warm in this room here.
I went to the conference room, and if there's a thermostat, you can turn it down.
I'm in the conference room.
Oh.
I don't see a thermostat. It's okay.
Okay. All right. I'm making you host.
Okay. And then I just have all my stuff ready to go.
All right. You tell me when you want me to start admitting people. It's 5 minutes till, so.
Can you, or do I have to now? I think I have to.
Oh, really? Oh yeah, look it. You're in charge of everything now. Wow.
All right. Anything new, or are we good?
We're good. I'm just doing a quick post.
I did not realize can you hear me okay? Perfect. I'm on an earbud, but I don't think I'm not connected to this. Let me try that. I did not realize you had made an online thing. The first slide, all you had is that picture. So I thought you wanted me to create. So I was not going over you and doing a new one. It wasn't until I was done, I scrolled down and I was like, she made one. She just wanted me to.
Sorry, yeah.
That's okay. That was my fault.
Do you have the Zoom ID and everything?
Do you need it?
Yeah, I'm just making a post real quick.
It's on an email I looked up. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Zoom ID is 833 5252.
Okay.
4574.
So 4574 and password.
32 37 88.
Oh my gosh, that big? 32 37 88.
Yeah. And I'm not echoey.
A little echoey. You're a little echoey, yeah, but
yeah.
Okay.
Oh well.
I'm posting this right now just so you know, in case it'll pop up if you're following.
Yeah, I'm admitting people, just FYI.
Okay, and I am going to have to go quiet. I have to go run and do an errand, okay?
Okay. Hi.
Good morning.
I have my serious face because I'm admitting people. I'm focused on clicking.
You have your hair down today.
What was that?
I said you have your hair down today.
Oh, I do. You're so funny to notice. Yeah.
There's cookies.
That's my noisy little dogs every time they hear a fly land.
I will go ahead and mute. Well, we'll wait a little bit unless there's sounds.
We like dogs.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. We went ahead and rented some space at Unity Church. Our teachers are in Singapore math training yesterday and today all day. And then they come back on Monday. The PD begins, the professional development.
That's good. I've heard good stuff about the Singapore math. It's a pretty good program.
Yes, we use the dimensions and the teachers are really enjoying learning. You know, she breaks it down and goes all the way to kindergarten and builds it up to see where it ends up taking the student. So
that's great.
It's great. It's always a learning curve for adults.
And we have actually been training all summer. They did Spalding training with us. Like they report back tomorrow, but it's like we've been asking our teachers all summer to train and train. So
yeah.
Right.
Where's your coffee?
Right here.
Okay, just checking.
I got my tea.
You never have to worry with Wingo. I will always have my Keurig behind my desk and my coffee going. And I drink it black, so it never goes bad. I can pick it up at 3 in the afternoon and it still tastes good.
Oh my gosh, you're hilarious.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm loving the little one in the high chair in the background.
Uh-huh.
The rest are all hiding.
Aw.
Oh, that was a cutie.
Say hi. Say hi.
So Robin Saray right now is at the preschool location, holding down the fort over there. And then I'm with the teachers over at Unity Church right next to the campus. We have our trainings. We'll be here all next week until we can get into the building. And I took a video this morning of the building, but sometimes when you take a video and put it on your Google Drive, it takes a while. So we'll see if it pops
I'm
up.
gonna go put my dogs in the other room. I'll be right back. Get them out of
Okay,
here.
no worries. Thank you.
Nice. Nice.
Got your hair done already at 9 a.m. Good for you. All right, I'm gonna check on that.
Jeff, can I help you? Good, how are you?
Okay, they're snacking. Oh, that's a cute picture.
Come on, there we go. All right, we'll let a couple more people in here and then we will get going just to honor your time. All right, so I will get started. I'm just gonna talk for a few minutes and go through some information updates, and then I'll kind of open it up if anyone has a hot topic or a question. I will try to check the chat as well if you want to put anything in there while I'm talking, just so you don't forget. If you're like me, you've got a million things going on, so I think of something and think I'll remember it, and then it's gone. Good morning. Thank you for coming to our virtual coffee, tea, water, whatever you're enjoying this morning. For those of you who don't know, I am Katie Wingo. I'm the principal. Robin Saray is on here. She's the executive director. She's over at the preschool location right now, taken on that. And I am with our teachers at Unity Church. We rented out a room to do our trainings to get a good space for them. Unity is right next to the school. As many of you know, you've driven over there. We are not affiliated, but we have a great relationship, so we appreciate them giving us the space to do our trainings. As Robin stated earlier, our teachers have been, any of them who were not Spalding trained went through a very long training. I did it with them because I wanted to know what the expectations were. So they have been doing that about 6 weeks. We have our last one finishing up this week. And yesterday and today were not their contracted days. And they're going through the Singapore math. And then starting Monday, they have got their feet on the pavement and they're ready to go. Planning, hopefully we'll get our class list as soon as I get those last commitments out there. I appreciate all the people who sent in their commitments. It's a scheduling nightmare. It's a lot. So we've got to make sure that we have our teachers assigned to their classroom, and teachers need to know whether they're going to be in person or online. Kindergarten right now, we have enough in person that we're going to have the same 3 teachers that are going to be in person. The numbers from first grade up are still coming in. We're going to make phone calls home today to those who have not committed. Then we'll be looking through screener information and be getting those classes out. We know the families, the teachers, the students are all excited to know who their teacher is going to be for this upcoming school year. So that's all coming in. Oh, I'm getting feedback, hang on. It's like when your phone says the things to you and you can't even concentrate to talk. All right, so what we've done, something exciting to start off on a positive note, not that there's negative, but just to start off on a positive note, is we will be planning, as soon as we have these class lists, our Meet the Teacher, because right now with the restrictions from the state, we cannot have students coming into the building. So we're gonna do something fun. Robin and I are going to, and we have some little ones, so they're gonna hear. You can leave it up to your own family if you wanna make it a surprise or not. My personal children, I learned very early on, do not do good with surprises at all. It actually ruins the experience. Surprising them with Disneyland one time and it totally turned, they need time to process through things and know what to expect. So you know your kid the best. But what we're gonna do is we are going to take a little caravan and we're gonna take each of our teachers out one at a time. And we are going to stop by homes to say hello. It's going to be quick because even with 15 students with travel time and stopping by a house, that's an awfully long amount of time. And we'll have some goodies for them, some stuff about the teacher, and at least they'll be able to see them face to face. Obviously, we'll stay back to social distance and keep you safe. But we really want to have that connection. Zoom is great because you can see a face, but face-to-face is always better to just pick up on that nonverbal communication. So I will show you the little slide. This will be sent out. Once again, we have to wait until the classes because what you'll be given is a 2-hour time frame for that teacher. Then we will use your numbers and we will text you when we're on the way so you know you're not standing outside for 2 hours. But every teacher will have a 2-hour slot. So you'll know, okay, I need to try to be home within this 2-hour frame. It's going to take us 2 days. So it's going to be that Monday, the 10th, and Tuesday, the 11th. And we have the time slot set from 8 to, I believe, 5 every 2 hours. Here is, let me see if I can.
I work as a merchandising vendor, so I have an oddball schedule, but I can do it later in the afternoon for us. That would be great.
Okay, so it's going to be by classes. That's the only way because we're going to have the teacher in our car for 2 hours.
Yeah,
and then we'll be going to all of their students. Sorry, I'm missing my little, hang on. So if it doesn't work and you can't be home during the scheduled time frame, just let us know and we'll try to work something out for you.
Well,
But
I'm
we
pretty
will be
versatile.
starting.
I can arrange things around if I need to. So I'm pretty versatile because I set my own schedule.
Oh,
for
okay,
myself,
great.
so, yeah, as long as I know when it's going to be and I can just plan.
Sure, I hear ya. And we appreciate your flexibility on that. So here is what we will be posting soon as we get those class lists done. We'll be coming to you. Cute.
Wow.
We just thought it was really, I mean, it's going to take 2 solid days, but we just felt that it was important to really build up the excitement, whether you have an online learner or you have an at-home learner. Did anybody want me to leave that up there? It's not like there was a ton of information on there. We want the kids to be excited. We want to show our excitement. We want to make those connections early on. All right, so moving on. Any questions on that? Any more questions on the Meet the Teacher?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be really fun for the kids because a whole new experience.
Yeah, we hope so. Robin and I definitely like to have a lot of fun, and so does our staff. So we thought if we were all in there together, it would be a good time. For those of you, some people have informed about the Google Chromebooks. So we will be sending this out as well. I'm waiting for the numbers to come out on a lot of this, so we have it all prepared. But what we're going to do is we're going to offer it to our online distance learners who have committed first. because Robin had put in an order over a month ago and paid for the Chromebooks, and they have not come in. A lot of them are back ordered. So we want to make sure that those kids who are committed to the distance learning have the opportunity. As soon as we get the other ones in, we're going to get them out to families absolutely as soon as we can. But this will go out on a Google form so that you can have it signed and ready when you come to pick up. We as well will be sending out a Sign Up Genius for 10-minute slots. So we want to make sure that we don't have a bunch of parents coming into the preschool. We want to keep it very organized and make sure that there's not that cross-contamination. Miss Casey, who works on our grants for us, is going to help us out with checking out the Chromebooks. So that will be coming out. Most of you have read through, we've got the online distance learning procedures and protocols. If you are committing to online, please read through these. The expectations are a little bit different than the March through May, and they're also, there's been changes made from knowing what we need to be successful online from the March and the May timeframe. So you all have those in your emails. If for whatever reason you're not getting emails, my Outlook has been a little wonky. So if you have not heard communications and you know they're supposed to come out, please feel free to email Robin or I, and we will be right on that. The other thing, the updates. So some of you heard Governor Ducey speak yesterday. We're kind of used to it. We don't have a date yet. So the 17th still rings true. They are understanding that there is a need for the in-person. There is a need for the online, but there's needs in both of these areas. So we're hoping that the state will back us in those needs. Robin did write a letter to the governor, to the superintendent of education, asking for that. We have some families who need in-person, whether it's to go back to work, whether it's that they don't have an environment at home in order to provide a good online distance learning, whether it's because you know your child needs the social and will do better in school. We are just fighting for that option for our families. So as of right now, the 17th still stands, but we all know that can change. Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're still on here, that the rumor is that they're coming out, Ms. Hoffman, on the 7th of August. I don't know if she's on or she walked away. But that's what we're hearing, is that on the 7th, they're gonna come out. Nationwide, they're looking at a decline. So right now, and please, anybody who's has more information in the field, we are on a slight decline from where we were 2 weeks ago. They look at about a 14-day decline in numbers. So we know that this has a lot to do with it. They're not going to have families attend if it's unsafe. But in the same breath, you know, if we're keeping daycares open, we really know that we can do what we need to do at the school. So we want to provide that environment for those students as well. Just to clarify, sometimes it's hard on the email, everyone, and they have stressed this at the state level, everyone will begin online on Wednesday, August 12th.
Right.
The reason is, if it is extended, we need those calendar days. If not, we would have to put the 12th through the 14th at the end of our calendar year and make those up, because we have to have certain minutes and days in order to meet the requirements. That is why we're going online. The 13th, the 12th, 13th, and 14th is not going to be anything academic. We're going to have our teachers do relationship building, have small groups, have whole class so they can see their classmates, as well as individual time. There will be a time in there for any parent questions. And we want to make it a fun time, get to know their friends' names via Zoom, get to know their teacher, have relationship building activities. Social emotional support is going to be humongous for us, not only for our students, but also for our staff. This year is going to bring a lot of challenges for teachers. We know teachers going to the field because they're people, right? They like interacting with children. It gives them fuel to get through the day. And they also like interacting with their colleagues. And we want them to do that because the more our teachers communicate with each other, the better job they do. They're sharing ideas, they're bouncing things off of each other. Because we have separated them into separate classrooms and we're asking for them not to all be joining together and increasing those numbers for contamination, it's going to be a more difficult year. So we need to support everyone on the social emotional level, and that's something that's really important. So we're going to start some of those things those first 3 days, as well as some basic class procedures. Obviously, all of it's going to need to be gone back over once they get in the classroom, as well as online. So the online teacher is going to set up their own procedures. We were able to get a fantastic online teacher who has a lot of experience and will help us manage those online classes. I stated before some of you got on, the numbers are still coming on for the commitments. We're going to be making phone calls to get those last numbers in so we can get the class lists going, as well as for the online person who's managing. We just don't want to put that extra stress on our teachers. That doesn't mean that we might not have a Zoom meeting where they get to see the classroom if they're online, they get to join in the social emotional, but that's a lot to put on a teacher to manage an online as well as an in-person. And we didn't want to make it any more difficult than it was. I think, let me just minimize this and see where I am. I think that's about everything I have to share. Oh, sorry, I'm sure you all want to know about the construction. That's kind of important. So we are on site, which is kind of fun. So we get to see the daily changes. Usually Robin and I make it out at least a couple times a week, but they have the flooring down. They're finishing up on all that. Those of you who saw the posts online, the scaffolding's down, they're finishing the exterior. They've built the whole cement track that's the fire lane. The two things that we're still working on, the construction part will be finished, but the two pieces are the elevator and the fire line. They found when they're running the water that they actually have to connect to 14th Street. So that added extra time that they didn't anticipate. They're still holding true. We're going to be close, but they're still holding to where we could open on the 17th. I know that Robin has asked her husband to take off the entire week because it's going to be an all hands on deck. Some of us, we've talked to you before, Robin's done this, not like she loves taking it down to the last hour, but her preschool that was over at 19th Avenue, and Miss Mitchell's on here, so she was part of that A team. I mean, they had like a weekend. They went in there, they're painting, they're getting these classes ready. It's just phenomenal when you just have everybody throwing in, chipping in. We have storage units with the K1 from last year. We have our desks that are at the preschool location. And we do have a great support network to make that happen. Also, the classrooms are going to be minimized this year because we need the space for the students and the social distancing. So we're not going to cram it full of furniture. We are not going to have any carpeting. We're going to keep it so that we can clean all those surfaces to the best of our ability. Carpet, anything cloth is obviously more difficult and you don't know if you have it clean or not. So that's the update. Robin, did you have anything to add with any of that I just threw on you?
No, I think you've done a fabulous job, and I've been going in and out because I'm at the preschool right now, and so taking some phone calls, and I didn't want to appear rude, so I apologize.
So please, I know some of you I can see are at work, so I want to honor that. If you need to get back and you want to ask any questions, please jump in there. Make sure you unmute yourself on the bottom left. You should not have that red line through your microphone.
You can also just type it in chat. Lots of people like to do that.
Yes, we have one.
I have one question.
Yes.
What is your setup going to be for like lunches? Do they need to bring their lunch? Will there be a cafeteria or eating area or?
Good question. CDC guidelines are recommending that they eat in the classroom once again, so you don't have that cross contamination. Our students will be eating in their classroom at their desk. They will bring their own lunch, or we have a lunch program that we met with this summer, and they're going to keep the lunches just under $3 a day, so it is pretty affordable. A monthly schedule will go out and you can order the hot lunches. We do not provide lunches. We have a beautiful warming kitchen and cafeteria area that we
that's
will
good.
not be using for lunches.
Yeah, my little guy likes to take his lunch, and that was one of the things he asked me, do I get to take my lunch?
Yes, my daughter actually packed lunch to go to her grandma's just because she was excited to pack a
Yeah.
lunch.
I have a question.
Yes,
Can you go over the mask policy?
yes, absolutely. And let me go ahead and show on the screen as well. I appreciate you asking that. Okay, hang on just a second. I'm going to go to our in-person, and then I'm also going to go over the other policies. Give me 1 second. Talk through the awkward silence.
Mhm.
There we go. Okay, so as we've stated for the mask policy, we are not requiring students to wear masks in the classroom as long as we can social distance. We are going to keep them 6 feet apart at their desks, and we are going to have them all forward facing. All recommendations, obviously, when we speak is when the droplets exit our mouth and go forward, so we want to make sure we keep it safe for everyone. We are going to ask students to bring masks to school every day. We will obviously have disposable masks if they forget their mask. And the reason for that is if we can't social distance, or we find that a child is exhibiting symptoms, we want to mask them as soon as possible, get them to the office, and not have them contaminate anything before they're going home. We are going to ask parents when they come on campus, only one parent, which most families are used to when you take your child to the doctor or the dentist or anything else, one parent with a mask to bring students on. As we've heard, the risk is higher for adults than it is children's 1 through 10. So we want to make sure that our parents are staying safe as well. Did that answer your question?
Oh, yes, thank you.
The other thing that is going to be, we're going to have to test it out, is we purchased and we will be delivering on Meet the Teacher the silicone bands, the little wristbands. And we're going to have them by color. And this will help us on the first day of school to distinguish what class the child's in, so that we don't have kids kind of going everywhere. We'll have the teacher that will have they're assigned with their colors. So maybe Miss Elias's kindergarten class has the red bands. And then we will know as parents or staff to direct them in that direction as well. We may have to do masks to come in. This is something that we're looking at as well as staggering, just to make sure it's safe for the students coming inside the building.
I have a question about drop off.
Yes.
We're a kinder family. So yeah, what does drop off look like in the mornings? Will we be walking our kids to the classroom? Sorry.
So we're going to have 2 options.
Okay.
And once again, we're working through this with the construction. So if you come in off of 16th Street and then you're heading west for the school, there'll be signs that we just ordered yesterday that will take the traffic west. If you would like to drop off, there will be a drop off lane for you. Obviously, kindergarten, that's not normally comfortable. So we're just asking that one parent get out of the car. So there's a large parking lot for Unity that you park and have your mask on and get out of the car and bring your child up to their line. The same will go for pickup as well. If one person will come up, we'll have an area and then we will get your students safely to you, or you'll pull through the lane and we'll get all this information out, but you'll have your student's name and grade level, and then we will call for that child and get them walked out to your car.
If we have younger kids with us that do not have another place to go, is our only option to drop, to send them from the car, or are we allowed to bring those younger kids with us as we walk?
No, we're going to accommodate that. Like I said, the risk under 10, I'm not saying there's not a risk, but it is lower. So you can bring them up. Obviously, if any of them are showing symptoms, if they have a fever, that is one thing that we are doing. If you bring your child and we temperature check you and you have a fever, even as an adult, we're sending your child home with you, because obviously there's a chance that they could be exhibiting the same symptoms.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the
Yes,
clarification.
of course.
Also, if I can
here-
just add, can I add, Katie?
Yes.
If I can just add, we also know, that first day, we're probably going to be working on a schedule for staggered time. We know you want to see the classrooms, and so it's like, we have no problem if you want to come in and everything. And when you get comfortable, definitely we're hoping that you'll start just dropping off, but it's exciting. It's a new school. We want to share it with you. And so definitely, it's like we want to do that, but then the goal is to get into the routine of just the one teacher or the one parent dropping off. So, Ms. Wing, did you see the question about before care and after care?
No, I'll get right to that. Let me just do this, and then I'm going to go to the questions over there. This is the scenarios we had shown before, and we added into the in-person. We had this looked over by a couple medical professionals just to make sure that it was in line with the recommendations. You can go back to this on your email. It is difficult, I know, to kind of follow, and it is difficult to write, and you really have to think through, and things have changed. We've talked about that. Originally, I had gone through the experience where a secondhand exposure back in March, and workplaces just went crazy, and not that they shouldn't, but we know now that more people are being exposed. So we're asking for updated recommendations on what's safe. And if someone is exposed, we're asking that they come masked, and we will closely monitor them to ensure that they're not showing any symptoms. But we know now that a lot more people are being exposed. So that's kind of a guideline on what steps we're going to take based on that. Renee, I can see that you're a nurse, it looks like, in a medical job. Does that sound pretty much in line?
Yeah, and it can be kind of unnerving, right? Because when we started out in March, the reaction to any possible exposure was so extreme. People were being put off for weeks. And as time has progressed and the community-wide spread has occurred, it is being handled differently. And so we're seeing more lenient returns to work here at the hospital as well, because we're starting to understand better how things are spread, how commonly we're exposed. And so I felt very comfortable with the way that you had written those guidelines, and it's similar to what we're doing here at the hospital.
Oh, thank you. Excellent. Yeah, it is not an easy task to take on. You're dealing with people's lives here. You're dealing with children and families. So I appreciate that feedback. And if you ever find anything different, medical professionals obviously come in all different opinions. So it's nice to just get more than one and to get a group to make sure that we're on the same page. Thank you for your feedback. So Mitchell, did you get your on mass in class? We're good?
I'm sorry, can I add something?
Yes, please.
So just today, I believe I was reading this morning that the CDC just came out with different guidelines in regards to the exposure, and then what they're saying right now is it's 10 days, not 14 days. So as we're sharing this document, it says 14 days. We may update it, we may not. 14 days, I feel comfortable with 14 days at this point. But I just want you to know it's evolving, and
Yes.
as it evolves, our policies will evolve,
Yes, good point, Robin. We had talked about that. If something comes out, we're obviously going to modify, and you'll see that updated date change based on those updates. Okay, so the mask in class, the other thing that we didn't talk about is if they are mandated by the state to have masks at all times, then we have to do that. Right now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's above 5, so it's 6 and up. The CDC had said 2 years old, but for out in public, they had 6 and over. The students in our summer camp who are over 6 are wearing masks. So that is something that's going to change our policy. We can't go above the state level. So if that's what they're asking, that's what we have to do.
And I believe yesterday, I'm still trying to figure out what Governor Ducey presented, but there's a new executive order. And my interpretation, and I'm still getting further clarification, is that he said not face mask, he said face guards or something like that. So,
Coverings, I think, yeah.
things, you know, and so he's made it a little bit more broad. And Katie, you talked about how the teachers are going to have a face shield and then a mask.
I did recently, but not today.
That's 2 weeks.
So
today,
yeah, those of you who weren't on the other call, we do have the clear face shields that they'll be wearing. When you're teaching Spalding, you need to see the teacher's mouth and how they're making those phonograms and those sounds for correct speech pronunciation. So when they're at a 6-foot distance, they can wear those shields, but then when they come close to your child, they'll have their mask that they will put on as a double barrier. Thank you, Robin, for bringing that up. We have
I'm sorry, is it okay for the children to have the clear face shield?
absolutely. It's okay for the children to have whatever you're comfortable. If you want your child to come to school in a mask all day, you tell us, we will give reminders and we will encourage them to have that mask on all day. You do what's comfortable for your family. Other families are not comfortable having their child in a mask all day. That's why they, you know, some people have moved schools. So it's based on your comfort level as a family. We're just asking that our teachers are not responsible for your child's mask. We don't want our teachers to continually or have to touch your child's mask, so they're going to be responsible for that.
Okay.
Thank you. Good question. So we have playgrounds, hot, rainy days. As of right now, we're going to have the field. Kindergarten's our biggest enrollment, so we're going to have 3 different areas for them. We're still deciding based on the end of construction what those are going to be. We might have a rotation. We do have that inside area for the cafeteria that if we don't have the tables and those surfaces that could get contaminated, that we can clean a floor area in between the recess times. We could offer an indoor. We also have rooms upstairs that will not be used that we could possibly offer an indoor game area, as well as the outside with the, right outside that side building. So for hot or rainy days, the same thing. When we have heat advisory days, we keep the kids inside. And obviously rainy days, even though a lot of our free spirits would rather be dancing in the rain, we keep them inside, as well as for dismissal. So once again, we are so fortunate to have 25,000 square feet that we can keep them in places, get them out of the classroom, but have enough staff on hand to clean those surfaces before another group comes in. A little tardy misinformation about the Meet the Teacher Night. We will send an email. Again, on the Meet the Teacher Night, I was just trying to keep from sending too many emails. We don't have the class list right now, and you're going to get a 2-hour time frame based on your teacher's class. So the Meet the Teacher will be August 10th and August 11th. And you know what I will do? This is what I will do, because I went ahead and set them. You'll be able to see the day, except I think 2nd grade split. So let me show you that real quick. Since you're investing your time on here, you'll get a sneak peek. Here we go. All right. Give me a second. Anyone sing? Sing us a song. See if this works. You could tell I'm not very good at yoga because I don't sit still or too long. Meet the Teacher. Here we go. All right. So we have scheduled, and it's going to stay like this unless somebody, adult, has obviously a situation. Kindergarten. All kindergartners are going to be from 8:30 to 3 o'clock on Monday, August 8th. Obviously, your 2 hours will depend on which class you end up in. If you see the person's name like this, that means they committed to that time. So 1st grade is split. So 1st grade parents, I'm very sorry. You're either going to get 3 to 5 on August 10th, which is a Monday, or 8:30 to 10:30 on Tuesday, depending if you're in Cooper or Fox's class. Second, third, and fourth will be on Tuesday, August 11th. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I work nights and Monday, Tuesdays are actually my main sleep days.
Okay.
And his dad works as well, so there wouldn't be any way that we would be able to be home at those times or awake. Would there be a different way to be able to schedule so that he would still be able to meet the teacher?
Yeah, we will accommodate. If you want to go ahead and email me. And also, if they are at a parent's house, my daughter goes to my mom's house. So if they're at another house and you want to share that information where they'll be, obviously, if they're not going to be at your address, please let us know that so that we can go to the correct place. Like I said, it's going to be a ridiculously tight turnaround for 2 days to get to every house. So please just email. My email is kwingo, W-I-N-G-O, @ksk8.org. Or obviously you can email Robin, but it's probably easier if one of us is filtering that. And Robin has about 58 hats. I only have 52. Okay. Meet the teacher. Before and after care program. Yes, how do you enroll? Awesome question, Renee. So we have morning care that starts at 7 a.m. for a drop off, and then after care starts or goes until 6 p.m. and you enroll. I'm going to go ahead and let Robin take that one if she's in there. I know it was on one of the enrollment forms, but Robin maybe walked away from her desk. Will you email me, Renee, and I can get you the rest of that information? And I do know that if you plan on a drop-on, the price is pretty cheap. So generally, if you do like a couple days a week, it's better just to do it for the whole month. Financially, I don't think there's a big difference between that. But if you are interested in the morning or after care, email me and I will get that information out to you. Meet the teacher information will come either today or tomorrow. Probably not. We don't have everyone committed yet, so we can't get those lists out. I will work tirelessly the whole weekend, I promise. And we will get those out as soon as we can. Drop-off lane, do the children have to be able to buckle themselves in? Yes. We do not, in that case, Michelle Watson, we do not want our parents to have to, or our staff to have to enter to your car and touch things in your car. So if they can't buckle and you can drive just to the parking spot to get out and help them, we don't allow people to get out of their cars during the drop off because it holds everything back and it's not safe. Face shield offers the same, blah, blah, blah. It's not a substitute for a mask. We're currently wearing both. Providers within. So does that go in line, Renee, with the face shields and the masks, as long as you go within the 6 feet?
Mm-hmm. I was just throwing that out there for parents who are
I appreciate
looking for mask alternatives. So yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead, if you're not on the chat or you don't pull it up. What Renee was saying is that face shields are an eye protection. They're not a substitute for a mouth face covering. So if you did put your child in that for school, or if we are required, they cannot wear that if they're within 6 feet of another child. That's not going to be sufficient coverage.
And Katie?
Yes.
Real quick, so just real fast. I'm Mrs. Mitchell, I work in the preschool. So I've been doing the summer camp, and just so you guys know, with the teachers, we are doing the same thing where we only use our face shields when we're up at the front of the classroom, but when we're close to your child, we always have the masks on. So that you know that us as a staff are not using these as a substitute for this.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that. And I have found that if you try to do any computer work with a face shield, it gets very psychedelic. Okay, The Jared Holmes, the guidelines, I think you're talking about the different scenarios. If that is what you're talking about, in your email that says important urgent information, if you want to search that in your email, it's under the in-person document. So if you click that link, and if you can't find it, just email me and I will send you out another copy. I also wanted to say that for all of the parents, we have, we're going to a different website and it's under construction right now. So there's a lot of updates. We're paying every time that we update the site. And so we're trying not to pay for something that's going to be different in 2 weeks. So if you do see something on there, or you are like, why aren't they updating their website with the CDC? We're going to do as many updates as we can, but really Facebook is going to be your main source of updated information that is current and relevant. So I apologize for that. I know there was still some meetings that we originally set up prior to the pandemic and that we could not have at Unity anymore, and that was still on there, so I apologize for that. If they're enrolled this year, do they move forward? You do have to register every year, Carla. There's certain documents that we have to have from the state that are updated every year. And so you will be sent out an enrollment packet, Robin, usually in February, correct? And we open that up to current families first. They get their registration, and then we do the open enrollment after that period. So you will have time to get that in.
And it's more like January timeframe.
January, perfect. We tend to do things early, which is good because we were able to get some great teachers by hitting the market early this year. How does the IEP work? Okay, so Michelle asked about the IEP process. We contract out a company for all of our IEP, ESS, any student, whether it's an impairment, a visual impairment, hearing impairment, all the way to receives speech services or for anything on the spectrum at all, language, English language learners, that all goes through our same company. The reason that Robin chose to do that is it's a very cumbersome process with paperwork, but you've got to know and need to have a company do that for us. They're amazing. They provide push-in services, which means they come in and support the students in the classroom, as well as, depending on their IEP, they pull out. Start pulling records. If your child does have an IEP, you need to get that over to the school as soon as looking through line. It's much more difficult, but it is doable, and she will do whatever she can to support those students. So the support is really going to be the same that it is every year. The only difference is if they, sometimes I'll use speech for an example, if they all have an articulation that they need support with and they're all in the same age group, in typical school years, they could be pulled out in a group and work together, because a lot of times when students work together and they hear each other, it can be more beneficial. But this year, we're not going to have any of those groups because we don't want to cross-contaminate the classes.
So both the IEPs, if you are online or if you're in person, IEP, if you have an IEP, it will be covered. And it's just making the schedule. And we're working with Melissa Cunningham, who is our special ed teacher, to make sure that happens.
And Carla is just clarifying, if you're new to the charter world, this definitely is a clarification that you need. There will not be, if you enroll your child in the time frame that we give you, you do not go in a lottery. Once you're in, you are in. But if we say for all of our current students, please have your paperwork back, I'm totally making up this date, by February 1st, and you don't, at that time, you could possibly go into a lottery. We will give you plenty of warning, plenty of reminders and phone calls. So as long as you get your paperwork in every year, once you're in, you're in. And for those of you new to us, we are a public charter school, which means that we are publicly funded. We follow all of the public school rules, whether it's our ESS services or it's our lottery. One thing that we offer at Kaleidoscope is the state still only pays for half-day kindergarten. The districts usually have overrides that cover the other half, but they're only funded from the state for half of a kindergarten. Robin felt it was very important, and the board supported her, that we offer free kindergarten for all of our students so that we were able to offer that to families of all socioeconomic status. And we pride ourselves on that. It makes it very difficult financially to keep a 15-to-1 ratio, especially when you're only being funded for half of a child, but we feel that it's very important, and that's why we offer that. But we do follow all of the lottery. What that means is when we get all of our enrollments for kindergarten, we have to put it into a lottery. It cannot be a first come, first served basis. You're gonna see that in private preschools. They could have a waiting line. Private schools can have a waiting line and they can take the first come, first serve. But if you're a public school, you cannot do that, and we are a public charter.
And the good thing is if you re-enroll for next year and nothing's changed, your address is the same and everything, you have one enrollment form, not all those 10 pieces of paper. So I'm like, it's a bonus.
Yes.
I have a question. I know you don't have all the commitments in yet, but as a percentage, are you able to say, what are you seeing more? Are you seeing more families gonna do the online or the in-person?
So we have a 70-30 that has pretty much stayed true. I don't know if those last ones are gonna switch that, but even our survey that we sent out, I don't know, a month ago, a couple weeks ago, it stated about a 70-30, 70 being in person, 30 being online. We know that giving the opportunity, our numbers have gone up a little bit more in person because the districts right now are not offering the in-person as early as we are. So that has changed that a little bit. Good question.
Okay, thank you.
And like we've always said, we support both sides, and we just want to make sure that there's options for all parents.
As I'm a single parent household, I have to work, so he needs to be in there and get his learning. But how much does the aftercare going to cost?
Do you have, oh yeah, Robin, you were gone for that. Renee was asking about the AM and PM care, how they sign up.
Our registrar has been a little bit sick, so we've been kind of taking the registrar's work right now. So morning care is $50 a month. Aftercare is $150 a month. Combined, it's $200 a month. And so we will be sending out probably a form very soon about morning care and aftercare, and getting that started as soon as possible. We've just
And
working
Robin,
on it. Yeah.
Correct. What's the drop-in daily rate?
Drop-in daily rate is $20.
Thanks, Robin.
You're welcome.
And is it the same for AM drop-in and PM? It's just $20?
Yep, all day.
Okay. Naomi, you have a question about homework and activities and aftercare. Great question. The way that we've structured the morning care is a safe place for them to be and try to wake up. So that's what morning care is. There's not going to be any academics or support with that. The PM care will be different. We will have a snack time for them after school. And then we're going to have homework time, or if they don't have homework, a quiet time that they can read a book or they can do an activity quietly. If they don't have homework, they can do an art project, something to work on. And then there'll be support for that as well. So right now, as it stands, and like I said, scheduling is a nightmare right now. We have a teacher who will be providing the aftercare and someone who can help them and communicate with the teachers on what they need. So there will be a time for them to get that done. Because if your child's in aftercare till 5 or 6, by the time you pick them up and get them home and get dinner, and there's no time for that. And it's nice to have that support as well. There will also be time for them to just enjoy each other, and whether they're playing an indoor game or something more relaxing.
Or it'll get a little bit cooler and we can get them outside.
Yes, that would be fantastic. And then for the rest of you for homework, if anyone's interested in it, it's funny, we're in the math training right now, and our trainer, who I highly respect, she's done a phenomenal job, calls it home enjoyment. And I've always struggled with that because my two oldest children, 13 and 10, are boys, and not to say all boys don't care for home enjoyment, but my older son, I just remember him saying, "Why do they call it home enjoyment? This is not enjoyable." So, you know, it's different for every student, but it was kind of funny. We want it to be a quick check-in on what they did in class. We are not going to send home a sheet of 20 math problems to work on. We are going to ask that they're reading at home. Different times are appropriate for different ages and different students. We are asking that if we're learning phonograms through Spalding and your teacher communicates that they would like you to work on the phonograms given, we will give you the correct pronunciation for that to practice. And we may ask for you to practice on math facts. It is not going to be cumbersome. It is not going to be busy work. If your child cannot complete a home assignment, you should not have to be sitting with them and reteaching it. If that's what's happening and you want to have that one-on-one time with your child, you can do that, but you also need to let the teacher know, because it is intended to be just a revisit of the topics that were taught in class. There are also studies out there that do say that if your child receives 2 times of that same topic, morning and for homework, that they're more likely to remember it, which makes sense. The more you revisit vocabulary, the more you revisit any topic, you have a higher chance of grasping and mastering that. So it definitely will not be busy work. And if it ever becomes a struggle, the last thing we want is for you to have a struggle or fight at home. And we will have plans in place if that does happen. I've been through it as a parent. I know Robin's been through it as a parent, and I'm sure many of you with older kids have dealt with that as well. And once it gets to a struggle, different parts of the brain shut down, and they're not going to be able to accomplish what they need to do. And then it's going to have a negative effect next time we ask them to do something. Any other questions coming in? Feel free to put them in the chat, email us.
Will they have lockers for their backpack or things like that, put away, or cubbies or something along those lines?
That's a good question. They will not have any lockers. They will have cubbies, individual cubbies, so kind of like the IKEA shelves where they have individual boxes. If you were in the pre-K program at the school, you know what those look like. We want to get where all of their things are contained in one space, and that's their spot, as well as their desks have a basket underneath, and that's where their own pencil pouch, their own marker box, their own math manipulatives will all be contained in their spot. The same goes for the backpack and the lunchbox. It will not be on a community cart or anything like that.
Okay.
Carla said we missed a question. Did we answer the question about the 15 student cap for just this year? Did you see that?
No, I did not read that. I'm sorry. We are keeping a 15 student cap for this year, not for online. Online, we will have to work with the numbers. We can't, financially staff depending on if we have 15 students online or 18, but in the classroom, we will be capping at the 15. It is going to become a struggle because if we set these classes at 15 for Q1 and some of the online want to come back, then we're having to open up other sections, hopefully not for 3 students. That's something that we as a school will have to deal with, but your classes will be capped at the 15-1. I skipped that question, so thank you for re-asking it. Hoping decisions about after the benchmarks come out on the 7th. We are still planning on the 17th. This is one thing that we are holding strong on. This is why Robin wrote letters to our government officials and the superintendent, is we want to open on the 17th for working parents, for people who need their students in a building. We are hoping that worst case scenario, if they're not ready to open the schools, that they will allow us to provide an area for students to safely do their online work. This is what we are fighting for. We do believe that if a student can go to a Boys and Girls Club or go to a daycare with their computer or Chromebook, that they could go to a safe school site. And we, like we've said a million times, we've got the square footage to do it. We've got the procedures and the protocols in place. So that is what we are hoping for. We will notify you as absolutely as soon as we can after, if something different comes out on the 7th. A lot of our teachers, you know, Robin has her own personal children that she's got to be able to have on the computers and doing what they need to do. We have a lot of our parents who have children. I am having to have, you know, my boy's grandma come over. She's going to be the teacher until Labor Day for the older kids. So we totally know that this is unnerving, and you can't set schedules not knowing.
Wait, can I just add to that, please?
You sure can, Miss Robin.
So Governor Ducey has put 3 executive orders, and the executive orders have to go in order. So right now, August 17th is when we can get children on campus. My interpretation of yesterday, and I texted away last night asking about what people thought the interpretation was. I have another meeting at 10:30 that maybe I'll get further clarification on. Is that they want it to be data driven, but ultimately they want the schools open. And so I don't know what that means, but we know for sure that the schools will be open. And our data says that we can open our schools safely, you know. And so, so this is the way we're leaning towards, you know. And that's why August 7th, Kathy Hoffman's supposed to be giving some data, and it's awfully close. I think that's just adding a lot of stress and anxiety for both schools and parents, you know. And so that's why after the news conference last night, yesterday at 3 o'clock, I was like, what does that mean, you know? And so it was very vague, but what I got from it is data driven and wear face masks, you know. And so those are the 2 things that I'm playing on right now, and that schools will be open. So August 17th, bear with us, guys. So,
and I think that Renee was shaking her head earlier when we were talking about looking, the data is the statistics of where the numbers are going, which right now are going in a more positive direction. Thank you for adding that in. Also, we did hear this week that the temporary C of O, is that certificate of occupancy, being able to get into the building, that they have talked to the right people. And as long as we have our fire lane, if we don't, that elevator, if that company still gives us a problem, we can board that up and get a temporary C of O for our bottom floor, which we can provide enough space if we need to do that. So that was really positive news. We're in the right direction. I keep talking about our angels. They're all around, whether you believe in that or not. They're out there. They're looking out after our families. Good questions about the supply list real quick. I did send them out. Like I said, I have had problems with my Outlook. So if you didn't receive them, I'm gonna send out another email that has the link for the supply list. It'll have the link for the Meet the Teacher. It'll have the link for the Chromebooks. So I will send those back out to you. There are supply lists. We are thinking about possibly picking up supplies at Meet the Teacher, if I can get the back of my car, you know, safe, where we can get those in there, and then we can take them to the school and have one less thing that we're having to hand off. So check your email, and I'll send another one of those out today. It's on a Google Doc, so just scroll through and find your grade level. Can anybody give me a thumbs up that they did receive that at one point, just making sure that my link is right? Okay.
Also, Sadie, I think that I can do a link on social media. So, I mean, it's the supply list that can go out.
That is fancy. That is not my wheelhouse.
If
If anything does not go right on social media, it's my fault, because that's not a strength of mine for sure.
No, I'll do. Okay.
As you see by my awkward videos at this school, I'm not comfortable being on social media.
You're doing great.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm new to the school. I don't know what you guys did before with parent volunteers. Now with the social distancing and the ratios of the students, are parents going to be able to volunteer for anything in the classroom, or is that just out the window at this point?
It is the parent volunteers and field trips, which we pride ourselves on, are out of the window right now. We are not going to take the chance for our parents or for our students or staff. So we will ask for opportunities if you're willing to help at home and there's something that you can help a teacher, whether it's cutting out or, you know, computer work. We still want to keep our families involved. We are very transparent and we pride ourselves on that. The same for field trips. Robin is like field trip mama. She loves getting those kids out there into the community, really experiencing their curriculum through field trips, and we cannot do that right now as well. We will be trying to do the best we can for virtual field trips, for having guest speakers come on via Zoom in the classroom, but those are not on the table right now.
And can I add to that?
Yes, you can.
So also with the field trips, so we're really, our teachers are very creative. So, you know, if we were supposed to take a field trip to maybe go see a play, we're going to transform the room into it so it feels like a different environment.
Oh, okay.
That we can do. And then in regards to parent volunteers, so we can't have parents on campus, but we do need parents to help us. And so making sure that we're a community through the Zooming, you know, and through anything that we can do. So there might be like, oh, okay, so we will be sending out parent volunteers. We really cannot have the parents on campus this year. And we want you on campus. Trust me, we want you there. But we just can't, unfortunately.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Understandable.
I have two questions. One real quick one, Jared. Right now, they are not requiring 5-year-olds to wear masks, correct? You are correct on that. It's 6 and up. And then extra supplies for the school. So hopefully, like I said, we'll be able to pick those up at your homes on your Meet the Teacher night. If not, they can be brought in at a later. We appreciate all those extra supplies that we've listed, would be very helpful. Thank you for the kind words from Renee. We appreciate that. And Jared, thank you. All right. Well, unless we have any other questions, I'm sure you guys have busy days to get to. I'm going to get in there with our teachers in their training and see how that's going. They're super excited.
Learn about what Governor Ducey said yesterday.
Hey.
I have a question.
Sure.
Real quick. Is there going to be like an on-site school nurse or something like that if a child got sick or headache or anything like that, or somebody that could help them if they need medical help?
So we have the front office staff who will be able to help, but we do not have an on-site school nurse. We have a nursing area, and we will have, you know, a locked file cabinet for any medicine or things that we need for the student. But that's generally.
My son has bad allergies at times, and at times he has to have medication during the day if he's having bad time breathing because he gets so stuffed up.
Yeah, so we'll have a release form for you to send out. Sometimes students are on nebulizers and they need to come up to the office to use that, or different medical needs. So you'll fill out a form, and then we will make sure that we adhere to whatever you need. As well, that we don't want anyone bringing any kind of medicine or cream in their backpack. That would go to the front office, and then we would administer that as you ask us to.
And the teachers are all CPR and first aid certified. And then I'm sorry, you cut out a little, but I don't know if you're asking about mental health, but I'm going to address it. We're very aware of mental health situations, especially with the social emotional. And so we have counselors available. They won't be on campus, but they're contracted. So in the event we need to get a counselor, we have them available.
Okay, that's good, because my son has some behavioral issues. He's working with a therapist, and some days he's really good and other days he just can't sit still and focus. And if there's someone that can talk with him and help guide him during the school day, that would work better for him.
Yeah.
And all of our teachers, like Robin said, We will have the resources for our teachers and our students, but all of our teachers are being trained in the CPR, as well as we have a training for our Sanford Harmony, which is a social emotional learning training for our teachers, the Love and Logic. We want our teachers highly trained. We want to make sure that they are confident, as well as have the resources to provide those environments for your students.
And yes, Jared, I am lost about what Governor Ducey said yesterday. As soon as I get more clarification, we will send out an email, because it was a very confusing news conference. And so I'm getting actually on with the Charter Association at 10:30, and I'm going to sit through another webinar, and I'm going to find out everything I can. So yes, as soon as I do find out, we'll send out an email for you for sure.
It's crazy how many of us, Robin and I, are listening and you're looking at each other. Okay, what does that mean? Does it mean this? And it should not be subjective. It should be very detailed and straightforward.
One more question. Oh, sorry.
Uh-huh.
So if there's no school nurse in the building, there's no screening for eyesight or hearing like in public schools? Like, don't they do that once a year?
Yes, there is screening. We are required by law to do screening. We contract somebody in to do the screening. So you get eyesight and you will get hearing screening every single year. You'll get it. So, and if there's any concerns, you'll get a report for that. We also do, for all students that enter, what's called a 45-day screening. And so the teachers fill out a form, and if they notice there's anything of concerns, then it will get brought into our special ed teacher. And that does include anything that they see. And so all students get that. So no news is good news, because that means, we're not seeing any concerns. But if we see concerns, we definitely have processes in place to make sure.
Good question. Thank you.
Alrighty.
All right. I think we're good. I hope
good?
people drink their coffee. I don't drink coffee. I just drink water. And so
I drink coffee and then some more coffee, and maybe a bubbly here or there.
good. A happy Friday morning, and we will definitely do it again soon. So thank you for coming on.
All right.
Thank you. We
Bye. Thank
appreciate
you.
all the
Good
questions
talking
and
to you.
feedback.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.